everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021 and welcome back to school. We're going to start the school year, this year off with reviewing what we left off with, this 3.1 graphing and writing equations of polynomials. This is your assignment you got just before break. I'm going to review this and then I'm going to give you another page just like this, but it's not this exact sheet. It's going to look like this. To practice on. It's just going to be a single sheet to kind of just review and remember what we were doing before we left for break. Okay. So first of all, if you recall on this sheet, this whole column here is kind of done for you. Okay. This is in standard form here. This is in factored form. These two are interchangeable. Okay. If I distributed this x squared, negative x squared through here, I would get this in standard form here. Remember that I can tell the degree of a polynomial if I were to either find the highest degree in standard form. Okay, so it's power of 3. Or if I add the powers of my factors in factored form. So that's a factor of a power of 1. So 2 plus 1 to be 3. So they both have a power of 3. Okay. Then this one has a 0 at 0. So this would be my 0 at 0 right here. And it has a multiplicity of 2. Remember, that means it would bounce. If it's an even power, it bounces. This has a negative 0 at negative 4. And that would be a multiplicity of 1. And that's going to cross, right? Okay, and remember any other odd number besides a 1, it would wiggle. Okay, if you remember that with our graph. This tells me that my right side goes down because it has a negative leading coefficient. My left-hand side would go up because it's an odd function. An odd function would do the opposite thing as the right-hand side. Okay, and then here's my graph down here. So if I move over to this next column, I'm going to look and see what information I'm given here. I'm given my factored form here. This is a power of 1, so I know it's an odd function, right? 2 plus 1 is 3. That means my right-hand side is positive. It's going to be going down. My right-hand side, because it's an odd function, my left-hand side, my opposite side, will be doing the opposite thing, which is going to be going up. And it kind of shows you that on the graph as well. Okay? My zeros of this function, I have a 0 at 0, because this is the same thing as x minus 0, right? And so that's going to be a 0 at 0 with a multiplicity of 1. And we have a 0 at negative 3. And that has a multiplicity of 2. And you can see the graph down here, it bounces, and this one crosses down here at 0. Okay, now we just have to write it in standard form. And the only way you write that in standard form is you're going to take this x times x plus 3 times x plus 3 again. So you're going to write that twice. It's a multiplicity of 2. Okay, I would probably take these two and multiply them together first. It's the easiest way to go. So I get x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9, right? And I just kind of let this x kind of dangle along with you, okay? This will be x squared plus 6x plus 9. And now I can just go ahead and distribute this x through here. X cubed plus 6x squared plus 9x. And I can write that up here. My f of x equals x cubed plus 6x squared plus 9x. And then you can tell with this standard form that my function is odd. It has a power of 3, just like down here, 1 plus 2 is 3 in factored form. Okay? Well, then we get to this next one here, and this is a little tricky because this says x cubed. If this was squared, we could factor it. Since it's not squared, we can't factor that, nor do we know how to factor it yet. We're going to learn how to factor these polynomials, but we just don't know how to do that yet. So I have to rely on these down here to kind of tell me how to put it in factored form. I do have a 0 at negative 2, so I'm going to actually graph this down here, negative 2. And I know it has a multiplicity of 1, so it's going to cross. I'm just going to put a C down here, okay? I know you can see that very well. That's kind of small, sorry. I have a 0 at 1, so I'm going to put this right here at 1. And it has a multiplicity of 2, so I know it's going to bounce at 2, okay? And so how do I write these factors? If I have a 0 at negative 2, I write that as x plus 2, right? That's how I write my 0. And it has a multiplicity of 1. And then I have a factor here. My next 0 is x minus 1. And that has a multiplicity of 2. Okay? And that equals f of x. And that's it. So if you know your zeros, you can write a function in factored form easily. Okay? I know that my right side goes up, and so I know that I have a leading coefficient that's positive. My left-hand side goes down because it's an odd function, and there you go. So we're just going to sketch this graph. I know we're going to be going up on the right-hand side here, down on my left-hand side here. This is a bounce, so we're going to come down. It's going to bounce here, It's going to turn and go down right here, and that's a sketch of my graph. Okay, so that's how you kind of work through these columns and these polynomial functions here. Okay, let's look at this last one here. So factors of 16 that add up to 8. I can just factor that right from that is going to be x plus 4 squared. Okay, so I just have one 0 here at -4, and it has a multiplicity of 2, so it bounces. Right, it has a bounce. And so I know based on here that my right-hand side is going to be going up because I have a positive leading coefficient. It's an even function, so my left-hand side is going to be doing the same thing, going up. Okay, my 0 is at -4, and it just appears it's going to be just basically a parabola. It's going to come down and bounce off of there and go up. Okay, so that's how you work through these worksheets. Okay, I'm going to give you another worksheet. The key for this is on Google Classroom, so you can take your worksheet from last time and put it on there and kind of go through it and kind of see how you did. Okay, I have not graded these yet because I know you all were having a hard time with them. Okay, so I'm going to do the review, and this I'm going to let this review sheet be the one that I'm going to grade, and the other one I think I'm going to just kind of count as a participation. Okay, and so go ahead and work through the sheet I put up there today. Come to Zoom, please, with questions. This chapter is very difficult. It's going to get harder, so I need you to come prepared to ask questions. And please don't rely on photo math too much, okay? Because it's not going to help you in the long run. All right? A happy New Year. I can't wait to see you guys in Zoom, and I will talk to you later.